Alex Furlong is getting ready for an important race. He is hardly worried, but his fiancée Julie is. Before the race, she gives him a lucky pendant and kisses his ear. And while Alex makes trial races and talks to his manager Brad, in 2009, his body is about to be moved into a bleak future. Victor Vasendak knows that Alex will crash in 1991, so he takes his men and drives to the crash site. There they set up equipment and prepare to capture the body. Alex's race is being watched by Julie. She is really worried about her fiancé, and not in vain. During the next race, he hits the wheel of the car ahead and flies into the air. His car crashes into a billboard, and at that very second, Furlong is transported to the future. He finds himself in a medical capsule. Doctors reanimate him and then prepare to send him to his new owner. However, Alex comes to his senses and starts asking questions. The doctors are surprised that he has retained his mind and try to erase all his memories. They need an empty shell without thoughts or consciousness. Inside this shell, they are going to upload the consciousness of a man who paid several million for the procedure. As they try to fry Furlong's brain, the convoy of technicians is attacked. The vehicles are fired at by unknown assailants. They also try to blow up the capsule with Alex. Due to this mess, he manages to escape. Vasendak sends a pursuit after him. Furlong stops a cab and jumps in. The driver immediately points a revolver at him and orders him to pay for the ride first. Noticing a watch on Alex's hand, he takes it as payment. On the road, however, the driver notices the pursuit and tries to shoot the passenger. Alex jumps out of the car and hides in a back street. He arrives at the house where Julie once lived. The landlord recognizes him and lets him inside. But when the confused Alex gets to the right apartment, he is greeted by strangers. They tell him that Julie sold the apartment years ago. Then they call him a Freejack and send him away. Freejacks in 2009 are people from the past who are transported into the future moments before they die. They have all the contents of their brains erased, and then the consciousnesses of rich people who decided to rejuvenate themselves are uploaded into their bodies. They could choose a suitable body in their own time, but the vast majority of people have screwed up their bodies so badly that no one wants to move into them. When Furlong escaped, Mark Michelet advised the customer to find another body. The fact is that there is a limited amount of time for the transfer of consciousness from computer storage. After that, the digitized mind dies. Yet the customer won't agree to a new body. It's Furlong he wants, and he demands to capture him. He is willing to spend several million more to do it. After talking to him, Michelet summons Vasendak to him. He wants Victor to hurry up to find and capture the escaped Freejack. Meanwhile, Furlong climbs into the church, where he meets a nun with a shotgun. She actually wanted to shoot Alex, but then she took pity and agreed to help him. She explained who the Freejacks were and what was about to happen to him. Then she tried to find Julie, but there was no information about her in the database. Then Alex asked to find Brad, and his address showed on the computer. Giving Furlong some clothes and a gun, the nun bade him farewell, and Alex left. Brad lived in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the city. Shootings occurred several times a day here. When Alex arrived at Brad's house, he didn't see anyone, but then his former manager jumped out into the hallway and dragged Furlong inside. Brad was terribly relieved to see Alex. As he learned about the Freejacks, he realized that Furlong had been taken into the future at the time of the accident, since the body had never been found. Because of this, Brad didn't claim payment on his insurance after Furlong's death. Upon learning that Alex was looking for Julie, Brad revealed where she lived and who she worked for. Julie is now a big fish at Ian McCandless's company. Among other things, they possess the technology to transfer the consciousnesses of rich people into bodies snatched from the past. Brad promises to get in touch with Julie and takes Alex to a cafe where he can make a phone call. On the way, he explains to his old friend how to behave so as not to attract attention on the street. Once in the diner, Brad excuses himself to make a phone call, and Furlong has a visual duel with a very disgruntled customer. When Brad came back, Alex realized that he had ratted him out to Vasendak. Armed men in uniform had just appeared outside the window. Alex tried to run away, but Brad caught him to hold him back. In the turmoil, they knocked the food over on the disgruntled customer, and he shot Brad in revenge. Alex escaped from his pursuers by taking one of their motorcycles. He drove it to the wealthy neighborhood where Julie lives. Meanwhile, Vasendak tracked his movements. He realized that Furlong was on his way to see his ex, and prepared for his arrival. Victor arranged everything for Alex to get into Julie's apartment unobstructed, and when she arrived, Furlong startled her with his sudden appearance. Julie didn't believe that the real Alex was in front of her. However, he gave her the locket she'd given him before the race, and Julie realized it was some kind of trick. She checked the security records and found out that there had been no break-in, which meant that Alex wasn't in front of her, because he couldn't just walk in on her. Julie set off the alarm, and Furlong escaped. A minute later, Vasendak's men showed up, and Julie realized that the real Alex had come to see her. She knows his habits, and where he'll go next. She takes her bodyguard Boone and heads to the seafront. Running away from Julie's apartment, Furlong stole a car, but Vasendak went after him with his men. During the chase, Alex drove onto a branch of a bridge closed for repairs and jumped off it. Emerging from the water, he met a homeless man who helped him gather his strength for a further fight. Arriving at the seafront, Julie found Alex and explained to him that she didn't immediately believe in the miraculous rescue, which is why she chased him out of her apartment. She said she wanted to help. She has a buddy, Morgan, who has dealt with Freejacks before. He can get Furlong out to a safe place. He and Julie arrange a meeting at a nightclub. Meanwhile, the reward for Alex was set at $10 million, and the amount is constantly growing because there is less and less time left till the customer's consciousness can be transferred into Alex's body. Coming to the nightclub, Julie went to talk to her friend, leaving Furlong at the bar. The bartender offered him some kind of drink, and Alex took it without a second thought. The drink turned out to be strong, and Furlong's mind went blank. At that moment, reporters from the club channel approached him to interview him. Realizing that before them is a Freejack, for whom $15 million are offered, they went live. Alex willingly answered all the questions, and Vasendak saw his interview. Morgan and Julie saw him on TV too. They quickly rushed to save him. Morgan detonated a light grenade to distract the customers, and got Furlong out of the club. Once in a safe place, Morgan said he couldn't help the highly sought-after Freejack. He suggested Julie ask McCandless for help. She contacted him via video link, and McCandless promised to do something. They agreed to get in touch in a couple of hours. After spending the night with Alex, Julie called McCandless again, and he said he could get Furlong out on the boat. When Alex and Julie arrived at the marina, Julie said she couldn't go with him. It had been 18 years since that accident, and for all those years, she had thought Furlong was dead. She has a different life that she can't leave behind. Boone volunteers to walk Alex to the boat. Once they are on the dock, Vasendak and his men show up. The boat explodes, and then they see Julie's car blown up. However, Julie was outside at that moment and was not injured. The car explosion distracted Vasendak, and Boone with Alex managed to escape. Boone was loyal to Julie. Besides, Furlong became a true hero to the city's poor, so he agreed to lead Alex out of the encirclement. They were attacked by some bandits armed with assault rifles. They seriously wounded Boone, but he managed to finish off the bandits and give Alex a head start. Vasendak and his men used tasers to keep Furlong's body unharmed. Alex clashed with one of the fighters in an abandoned building and knocked him out. Then Victor showed up. Alex could have shot him, but then Vasendak was fired upon, and Victor with Furlong killed the attackers. Alex then went to his enemy, demanding the name of the person who had ordered the delivery of his body from the past. In gratitude for his rescue, Vasendak said it was McCandless who wanted to move into his body. He also gave a 5-minute head start so that Alex would have time to escape. He was met on one of the streets by Julie. She had stolen heavy machinery from Vasendak. Alex demanded that she contact her boss, but McCandless was unavailable, so she called Michelet. He offered to wait for McCandless at the office, and Furlong agreed. When they arrived, Michelet showed them McCandless's body and told them he had only an hour to upload his consciousness into his new body. After that, the digitized brain would be destroyed. Right now, McCandless's consciousness is stored in a computer. However, Michelet is not going to help the head of the corporation. All this time, he has been trying to destroy Furlong by sending armed thugs to prevent McCandless from getting a new body. If his boss dies, he will become the head of the corporation. After telling all this, he suggested that Julie and Alex leave. Michelet didn't need those two anymore. However, when they started to go down the elevator, Michelet ordered his men to kill them. In the elevator, Furlong figured out that they had fallen into another trap, and Michelet wouldn't just let them go. Once on the first floor, they got under fire, but at that moment, Vasendak and his fighters appeared and attacked Michelet's guards. Thanks to this, Julie and Alex were able to send the elevator to the 100th floor, which has a fire exit. Vasendak realized that Michelet had decided to take over as head of the corporation after McCandless's death. He went upstairs to stop him. The elevator with Julie and Alex went to the top floor. The elevator car was controlled by a computer. Once there, they entered the soul vault where McCandless's digitized consciousness was located. He appeared before them and told them that he had fallen in love with Julie, which was the reason he wanted Alex's body when he found out he was about to die. That way McCandless could be someone for Julie that she could eventually fall in love with. McCandless said he was ready to make Alex the head of the corporation, and he would fade into oblivion. Everyone will think he transferred his consciousness into Furlong's body. All he had to do was enter a password, but it turned out to be a ruse. McCandless was just stalling until Vasendak arrived. When he entered, the consciousness transfer procedure began. That's when Michelet came in. Vasendak's soldiers were distracted, and Julie managed to snatch the gun of one of them. She shot the computer, interrupting the consciousness upload. Michelet declared that he was now the head of the corporation, and Vasendak was obliged to obey him. But then Alex came to his senses and said that he was McCandless. Michelet demanded proof by naming the cipher from the safe, and Furlong gave it. Vasendak confirmed his words, and then Michelet tried to kill Alex. Victor outran him and shot Michelet. Afterward, Furlong washed up, changed clothes, and went on a trip with Julie. He was stopped by Vasendak and his men. He said that McCandless had never driven a car, so Furlong had to be careful not to reveal his deception. At the Soul Vault, Alex named the wrong cipher, but Victor played along. He knew even then that it wasn't McCandless in front of him. Despite that, Vasendak didn't give him up because he liked Furlong, as opposed to Michelet. Now that Alex had taken over as head of the corporation, he and Julie could start a new life together.